Okay, we're going to get started again. We're going to move back to item 4 on the agenda, which is public comment. I do have one request to speak. Barney Carter.
Before I get started, the solution to having fires and deaths from the fire department, every husband must take his wife and children out for dinner, breakfast, and lunch all the time. No more deaths in the fires from the kitchens.
Or at least during that week, right?
And Bernie, that needs to be done in Grand Terrace, correct?
Yeah. At La Pasta Italiano.
Any restaurant of their choice, really.
Yeah.
We need the revenue.
Yeah, I don't have room for everybody, so we're going to have to pick up.
Okay.
Okay, you're up, Barney.
Number 1. Your books should be burnt. They are fraudulent, or at least not educating in every respect. And there's some questions I have in the child care. And I'm all for it because it makes big money, but it doesn't tell us what the overhead cost allocation goes to, because we're lying about where it goes. Okay? It pays for the city manager's salary and the city finance director. I understand. I'm not sure about that. I can't get down in and get the full thing. But the city council should find out where that $198,000 goes, a good breakdown. $60,000 at 11-12 for materials and supplies. $18,000 in 12-13. $35,000 in 13-14. 75% increase. Something is rotten in Denmark. I think it's the fish. We have a deficiency in income. Part of the deficiency is because we don't run our books right and we don't do things properly. We have a wastewater disposal fund that is losing for 12-13, according to the budget, $216,000, and for 12-13, $106,000. Something is wrong, and then after that it goes to 231, 211, 192. It's big. This is bull. This is part of our deficit. This amounts to $6 a month per sewer connection. That's $12 per billing period. Instead of $54, which is what the sewer charge is, you have to go to $66. Not a budget killer and not a tax raise, but it's $180,000 a year. Woo! That's my guesstimate, because I don't actually know how many sewer connections there are, because nobody seems to be able to tell me. Okay? This is just parts of the stuff. Special election advisory services, $75,000. Funding for retiree medical benefits, that's the reason we do not want to have employees. I can keep going on. I've got a list of $270,000 without the sewer. Cut one additional patrol deputy. Until we cut them, we don't know whether or not we need them. $30,000 for automatic license plate recognition system. $50,000 for economic development program. So far, everybody who comes to Grand Terrace, every single business is told no. We are the city of no. No, you can't do this. I speak as a builder. My son's a builder. I talk to people that are developers. who say, I don't want anything to do with Grand Terrace. Why? Because we think we are gold-plated, wonderful. We're just a pissant little city that has a lot of nice things to it, but we're not Beverly Hills or Brentwood or some tremendously good city. $40,000 for a volunteer program coordinator. If we have a volunteer, if they're volunteers, they can volunteer to coordinate themselves. That saves $40,000. Altogether, we got $270,000 there, plus $180,000 for the sewer. That's $450,000. That's a big part of our $500,000 shortage, right? And I haven't even started to cut. There's another $30,000 to $60,000 that is wasted on rental inspections. If I have a building and I don't take care of it, I can't rent it out. If I rent it out, I gotta cut the price tremendously. It's a waste of money. I'm already 3 minutes overdue. But first off, this is a bunch of BS. It does not allow a bookkeeper, an accountant, or even an educated person of any sort to really tell you what's in it. And I've talked to a couple of very, very nice city council people. And I know they don't know. How many heating and air conditioning units do we have on the road here? And what tonnage are they? And how old are they? Because you're spending $27,000 a year for maintenance. 27. That's over $2,000 a month for maintenance on your air conditioning, heating and air conditioners. Let's go get some more bids. We got a lot of heating and air conditioning people right here in Grand Terrace. Let's get some bids and see if we can't get that cut down to $1,000 or less. I'm probably about 14 minutes now.
Thank you, Marty.
Stop fires, eat out.
Next is Patricia Farley. Saw her. There's
Good evening, my name is Patricia Farley. I ran up here so I could put in my 2 cents of what I think is one of the best council meetings I've watched. Because you're asking really good questions. Thank you. Really good questions. I want to tell you that this has been my complaint with the governing of Grand Terrace for years, is we had terrible mismanagement, and it's the fault of the state for allowing the redevelopment, which was totally out of control, which was putting in things that were causing environmental problems and more expenses we'd never be able to pay for, and we'd come to this point. We have some really tough decisions to make, and we better ask every little question, because my view is Grand Terrace was damaged terribly by the past administrations, and I feel badly for you folks being on this council right now and basically having to answer for things that you were not responsible for. And I'm glad the way you're conducting and asking all these questions. Grand Terrace was basically changed drastically by inappropriate redevelopment without proper circulation and stuff, and it's been changing the community to nothing we ever wanted, okay? And now we have a very serious problem. And the people you should stop and think about first are those people who have invested money in property here in Grand Terrace, and the past administrations have given the control of Grand Terrace away to developers and anybody that would come in real fast and put in something, irregardless of what it was doing to our community as a whole and what we could finance. Thank you for this meeting. We need more of them, and we need all of the positive and negatives that we can think about. I detest people that say, oh, how can we make it work? Because you know they can't, because they're not asking all the questions that need to be asked. Thank you for this meeting. I want to maintain Grand Terrace as the nice residential community it was meant to be, and which people purchased property in, and now those people are being hurt terribly because of gross mismanagement over the years. I feel badly for you for the bad decisions you're going to have to make, and people are going to mouth off and blame you, but I know that it's the past councils that did this. And I got up here and made people complain about me because I wanted people to wake up. It was obvious this was going to happen. We have some tough decisions to make. Thank you for asking questions, and please ask more. I finally am learning more here at this meeting than I've heard for most meetings in the history of this city. Thank you.
Actually, I have a question. I have a question, Patricia. I would just welcome your opinion, actually. I'd like to get your thoughts. You said you support Grand Terrace. Do you see, would you, in your mind, would you rather see us stay as a city as we are now? Would you rather see us go back to the county as it used to be? I'd really like to get your thoughts.
Okay, I think I'd be naive to say for sure, definitely one way or the other, right this moment, because there's a lot of information we need to process. But I am furious at anybody asking me to pay for the crap that was voted in for decades. And there are a lot of residents in Grand Terrace who voted for that stuff, who didn't listen and pay attention. Those are the people that should have to pay for it. I don't want to pay. I think I've paid my dues, thank you. I want Grand Terrace to remain a nice residential community. That means residences are priority over massive, big business take over private property, which is what's been going on here. Okay? We need to do what we can to keep from drowning. I would like for us to keep control of property use, because I would hate for the county to be doing that. But I'll be damned if it's going to be off my back, because I've spent more than enough time of my time trying to raise the consciousness of people in this city about how terrible things were. And I know enough, probably more than a lot of people, to know that they were really bad and I was right. I may not be a good presenter, but I know I was right. And we need council meetings like this where you've got people that are coming in from the county that know the questions to ask, and I want more of it. We all better listen before we decide for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia.
You're the last time.
Next up is Ryan Stevens.
Good to see you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I'm really disappointed that Mr. McConnell and Mr. Wilson decided to leave early because I would have liked to address some of their concerns. Ms. Lester is correct that Mr. McConnell voted for the utility users tax actually in an amount that was exceeded the amount that the council voted for. And I think it's extremely disingenuous that he would now be out in the community opposing it with misinformation. I'm also very sad that Barney just left because I wanted to address some of the cuts that he was proposing up here, his $200,000 and some odd worth of cuts, all of which were from the City Council's wish list, none of which will actually ever be implemented. So we have a lot of people in our community who want to assume that the books are not correct. They want to assume that there's some type of wasteful spending. They feel like they can find ways to cut. And if they had been so engaged during the Budget Advisory Committee, I think they would come to a different realization. In fact, in recent meetings with some of our leaders in our next door neighboring city of Colton, they envied the fact that the city of Grand Terrace was quite efficient with its usage of public funds and the services that it was able to provide. In fact, in the city of Colton, services cost upwards of $500 per resident per year. In the city of Grand Terrace, it's just a little bit over $300 per resident per year. So when you see people within our city saying, stop the bleeding, stop all the mismanagement and all the misspending, I ask them to please kindly show me where that is, because throughout the Budget Advisory Committee, there is not a whole lot of fat left to trim here in Grand Terrace. The fat has been trimmed And now we're faced with the stark reality of what the future of our city is going to be, what we as citizens want it to look like, and we can't afford to spend any of our time or resources dealing with misinformation. We need to get real and deal with the facts. One last thing I want to discuss. Mr. McConnell came up here again proposing the idea of a contract city. If you haven't noticed, we are already, for all intents and purposes, a contract city. We contract our fire, we contract our police, we contract our parks maintenance, we contract our financial services, we contract our attorney services. There is not a whole lot left to contract, and we have looked at this option. It leaves us, if we contract out everything, and we have one person sitting behind a card table, as Mr. Wilson would like, that leaves us with a $248,000 deficit that we still have to cover. And we lose all of our parks. We eliminate funding for the senior center. That is not a solution. And you can post YouTube videos till your face is blue, but there is no solution there. And the solution that works in Georgia does not work here because we don't have the tax base to support it. So, I urge my fellow residents to please take the time necessary to educate yourselves on this matter because the future of our city is quite literally at stake.
Thank you, Brian.